Hi everyone. Have you ever wondered why you can't figure out your expenses? Why there's always seems to be this new expense popping up in your budget and you just get so frustrated that you just give up on budgeting? Well, today we're going to talk all about expenses and the different characteristics of them that may be part of the reason you can't figure out how to get all your expenses matching up and why you always feel like you're scrambling to cover all the things you need to do in your budget. But before we get to that, I'm going to ask you to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to be notified of new videos. Also, I encourage you to put comments in, give me feedback on the videos, and also submit any ideas of new things that you might want to see in future videos. So with that, we're going to move over to all of the different expense characteristics we have. So the first thing that we'll talk about on our expenses is the characteristic of need versus want. This is a fairly basic concept. It's in a lot of different budgeting methodologies that are out there. And really the big thing is that you need to do is figure out, is your expense a need or a want? And that will really help you when you need to look at your budget to determine whether or not you need to make changes to it, cut down on your expenses, and go that way. So a need is an item that you have to survive. And they usually fall in the categories of shelter, clothing, and food, right? Especially up here in the lovely northern Alberta climate where in May apparently we're going to get some snow. You need to have that shelter, clothing. On the flip side, we have wants. So these are things that are not necessary for you to survive, but they can certainly add to your quality of life. So the things that we talk about in wants often are eating out, designer clothing, subscriptions such as Netflix or Apple TV, or even hobbies that we might be doing, which could include YouTube videos. Is crossover between needs and wants, and one of the most common examples is in your food category. Food, if it's truly a need, will only be your groceries. You can have wants where it is you're eating out. The other example is in your clothing. So clothing, I need a pair of jeans. I want the latest designer jeans that maybe are 3 or 4, maybe more times the cost than a basic set of jeans you can get at Walmart, Target, or any other local store. And so when you're looking at your budget, those are the kind of things that you should be considering as well. Need versus want, and then is my need moving into a want? So the next characteristic of an expense that we're going to look at is fixed versus variable. So fixed expenses are done for a set amount at a set date. Common examples: rent or mortgage, utility payments, your Netflix subscription, and insurance. So those are all fixed. They all occur at a specific date and time within a specific amount. But you will notice that some of them are needs, your rent, your mortgage, or utilities, and some are wants, like your Netflix subscription. So that's another thing when you're creating out your expenses, is to understand what all of those are. Another item is it's a variable expense. So variable expenses are things that do not occur on a set basis, and they can vary in amount all the time. So examples of your variable expenses are groceries, vacation, or gifts and holiday items. Again, within the variable, you can see you have needs, groceries, versus wants, your vacation. Again, that's why you need to be understanding, what is that expense? Do I need it? How do I accommodate it? The next thing I'll talk about, and even on the fixed and variable, one of the things you might have noticed is they are not all monthly expenses. And sometimes those that are not monthly expenses may be called irregular expenses. In some places they're known as sinking funds. But basically what they are is you need a certain amount by a specific day, or you want to have a pool of money available for you. And so that becomes very important to know, fixed or variable, what is the time interval? So it could be a fixed expense that's an annual expense, like my insurance, or it could be a variable expense that's annual, like my vacation. And I need to know both of those things to determine how much I should be setting aside every month now in order to have that expense covered when it comes due. So what do I mean? So for example, with insurance. So let's say it's May now and my insurance is due in October. And it's tenant insurance and it's $240. Well, between now and October, I have 6 months, I'd have to set aside $40 every month in my budget so that I have the $240 available. Once I've identified that and I have it, for the next month, after I pay it, and then I can start putting $20 a month every month in from November to the following October, and then I'll have that money available when it comes due the next year. So that's really the important part, is to figure out those expenses. How much do I have to have every month set aside in order to meet that need? So when you're first starting here, you may need to set more aside. Like I said, in the insurance example, I have to set aside $40 a month between now and when it's due because I only have 6 months. But in the next year, I'd only set aside $20 a month because I have a full year to pay for it. The other type of expense that you have that's variable is, say, our holiday gifts, where I know bits of it, how much I want to have, but I'll have unexpected expenses within that. So with holidays and gifts, maybe I have weddings that come up that I didn't anticipate, or retirements, any baby showers, things like that. But I can start to accommodate that in my budget by setting aside amounts. So with my gifts, I would take my calendar from now till, say, December. What are all of the birthdays in there? What are all of the significant holidays in there that I want to have money set aside for? And then I would figure that out and put that money aside every month. And I could set a cap on it, where I could say, if I get up to $1,200, I'm fine. I'm not going to contribute any more to that. And then as I use it, and then I would contribute more. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to even out your expenses. So instead of having these spikes all the time of different expenses, you're going to even it out. So I'm setting aside money, I'm building up some funds, and then I can pay for those expenses from there. And that is how you can look at your expenses, look at the different ways. When you're building them out, you can actually create a chart similar to this one that we have that lays out the expense, whether it's a need or a want, whether it's fixed or variable, what's my time interval on it, how much is that, and then translate that into the monthly amount that I need in order to have sufficient funds available when that expense comes. That's the video on how to look at your expenses, hopefully get your expenses a little bit better under control in your budget, and then you'll have a much smoother way to budget. So thank you very much for staying around and listening to this video. I hope you all have a great day. Don't forget to click that like and subscribe button if you found this video helpful, and don't forget the notification bell to be notified of new videos. Thanks, and we'll see you again next time.